guest in the house tonight. More? Yeah. Right?
Thumbs down.
And one other, who am I thinking of, the other guest, maybe it was only two. Okay, other than our West Valley folks. Okay. Well, yeah, Eddie's here too. We got you. I'll introduce Eddie in a moment. We have two new members though, since last meeting, Keaton. Yep. And Dee. Congratulations. Mauro, you're a guest tonight. You're a friend of Alex Sandoval's, who's one of our esteemed former members. Step up to the mic, tell us who you are and why you're here tonight. Woo.
I'm a friend of Alex Sandoval. I've actually been watching him, right? And I've been paying attention to him, and he's been growing a lot, you know what I mean? And he's a motivational speaker. And that's kind of the area that I want to take. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to learn how to brush up and be confident in front of people, right? And I do have it, but I want to build it more. And I know there's more to learn here. I did Toastmasters inside jail, and I never really actually did it out here. And this is, you know what I mean? This is me stepping outside of myself. Thank you guys.
Well, you're in the right place. This is a very supportive environment. We're here to, improve our public speaking skills in a very supportive, friendly environment. Can be in a better place. Okay. First up, Eddie Mauro. Eddie, come on up.
Yes.
Big Mauro. Eddie started this club over 30 years ago.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie.
And he has been a member for these 4 years. Eddie, I want you to, I've only been here 5.5 years. I've only been here 5.5 years. Chris has been here about 5.5 years. So none of us were here on day one other than yourself. So please tell the group why you started Toastmasters, what it looked like 10 years ago, maybe some trials and tribulations to get it off the ground. And what was your proudest moment of starting the club and seeing it continue 10 years later?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. Again, thank you, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests today. Appreciate it. I'm actually probably take a couple digs. I have a little bit of a speech, so I'll go through this, and if you have additional questions, maybe we can answer that. But I just wanted to say it's a privilege to stand before you today as a former president of this very remarkable club. First, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude to all our club officers, particularly Chris and Tom, who have really helped grow this club since I've been here, and I think they have very, a lot of dedication. You can see it as we grow this club. A little bit of history that I'd like to get into. This club originally, and so this club originated, and we have some West Valley college students here, kind of auditing this class, and that's how this club started. We were the West Valley College, Community College Toastmasters originally, and we met in the library. The librarian started the club, and I had joined at that time, and eventually we found that the academic setting, although it had a lot of opportunities, we found that there was other opportunities outside of West Valley in Los Gatos. So we ended up moving to the JCC, who welcomed us. The JCC is the Jewish Community Club. They had a nice space over there. So we ended up moving our club over there for a few years. Eventually, we grew out of that space and moved to other locations. Before finding this nice location, Office Evolution, we were at the Chamber of Commerce in downtown Los Gatos. But there was some rough patches where when we initially had started the club at Los Gatos Toastmasters at the JCC, we whittled down to only 5 people. And it was a real challenge to get the club, get the meetings going, having enough people just to take all the roles and set up the meeting room and things like that. And one of my proudest moments is really our achievements at the club. They kind of took all the roles and eventually I became the club president. And the achievement that I very happy to do was growing the club to 30 members and eventually, and we continue to that today. I also got involved personally, kind of talking about personal growth. My time as an officer, I kind of taught me to view this club as a small business. So it took strategic management of this club as an officer to really take it from very few people to a larger group. And I did that with a digital transformation. That was kind of my focus. So I wanted to make it modernize the club by using Trello for our role management and Square for collecting dues and things like that. And that really helped modernize our club. And that was very appealing to bringing people in. Did a lot on social media as well as PR, getting the word out on the club, and that really helped attract people to this club, improving the website, things like that. And because of that, I got noticed at the district level, and they asked me to be the PR manager after awarding our club the PR award for best PR in the district. And I forget how many clubs we have. Tribe
150.
150. It was over 100. I remember the time. So a lot of clubs, and our club was received the PR award a few years back for all our website and social media posts to attract people, because they could see the results. We were adding a lot of people, so that was very exciting. And I also wanted to get into a little bit more on the district opportunities, because you come to this club and you take roles and you do speeches in this kind of you get comfortable at this environment. It's really important to take advantage of Toastmasters, the larger entity, and get out into the district if you can, as Tribe has and others. Tom, others have, and Chris have done speeches. They have speech contests. They have semi-annual meetings where you can go and network with people, as well as improve your speaking in larger venues. That's the key, right? We get kind of comfortable speaking here even after a few sessions, but when you get in front of hundreds of people, that's what's afforded you when you speak at the district level. So some of the skills developed are confident communication, thoughtful feedback, and servant leadership. That's what we're doing here at Los Gatos Toastmasters. And these qualities extend far beyond these walls and both into your personal and professional lives, so you can really improve your personal growth. So yeah, thank you for allowing me to be your president and it has been one of the most rewarding chapters in my life as my Toastmasters journey. I encourage each of you to embrace every opportunity this wonderful organization affords you, and just say yes to any opportunities that come your way. But with that, I give it back to Tom. And if you have any questions about the club I might not have covered, I'd be happy to talk about that.
No, thank you. Stranger, we don't see it very often in the club meetings. You might be seeing me more. I hope so. I hope so. But even though we don't see him at the club meetings, he pays his dues. He's a full paid member. He supports the club that way. So thank you for doing that. All right, we got to keep this meeting rolling. I recognize all you kids from West Valley. Thank you for coming tonight. Who is the spokesperson of your group? Who's the spokesperson?
We need 3 spokespeople.
Well, who's the spokesperson? Come on up.
Sure, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Welcome. Step up to the mic. Now, some of these members I've seen the West Valley students come through here like every 6 months, but some of these members haven't. Explain to the group why you're here tonight, and I know you're involved in public speaking at West Valley, so tell us a little bit about that.
So my name is Tessa. We are in a public speaking class at West Valley. Our professor is John Hannigan, if anyone knows who that is. We have an assignment where we have to come to a extemporaneous speech and we have to write peer review about it. So we're kind of here to just see what you guys are doing. Hopefully get to be able to see what our speeches would look like outside of the classroom setting. And we're gonna write a bit about one of our speeches that we hear tonight. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Well done. Well done. See, it wasn't that hard. All your other
Yeah, great
peers
job.
saying, no,
Great
never
job.
on me, but you had the courage to come up there. So well done. Well done. So I guess we need to be on our best behavior tonight. These kids are reports about speeches we're giving. So let's show them well. Okay, agenda. So every meeting we have a strict agenda. We have speakers, speech evaluators, table topics, and functionaries. What changes from week to week is which members fill those roles. And I'm the Toastmaster tonight. Next week, I'm giving a speech next week, so I'll have a different role. So it provides our members with an opportunity to take on big roles, small roles, but not get stuck in the same role for week to week. And maybe some weeks you just want to sit back and listen. That's fine too. I know from experience, my growth as public speaker has been accelerated by taking roles every week and coming up to the podium, working on the craft. So I encourage all our members, including our new members, to do that. Without any further ado, let's run through the agenda very quickly. We have 3 speakers tonight, Anant, Electra, and Christina will be giving her icebreaker speech. Christina is one of our newer members. And the icebreaker speech is the first speech that a member gives in Toastmasters. Hi, Daisy. And it's intended to, this icebreaker speech is intended to share something about themselves with the members. It's intended to be the easiest speech that you may give because you know yourself better than anybody else. How are you feeling tonight, Christina?
I feel great because I picked the best days.
Anybody here?
I'll see you inside. Let's lean into it.
Trial on fire, right? Yeah. So that'll be our icebreaker speech. Table topics, Alexi will be our table topics master tonight. Table topics, we'll get to it, will be the opportunity for anybody in this room to come up and speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Alexi will have some questions. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's an opportunity to practice our impromptu speaking skills, right? And then we have speech evaluators. Chris will be evaluating Anant. Vivian will be evaluating Electra, and Natalie will be evaluating Christina. We have 4 functionary roles every meeting. We have a timer, an odd counter, a grammarian, and a general evaluator. Tonight, our timer is one of our newest members, Keaton. Keaton, come up here. This role of timer. What does that involve?
So I'll be playing the role of a timer. This is my first time as a timer. It's a very simple job. So we have some color coding, and I'll be signing all the speakers. I'll be telling the speakers, the evaluators, and the people topic. So we have 3 colors here: green, yellow, and red. For example, if a speaker is crossing 5 minutes, I'll be just putting this green color on. I'll be raising this color up. And when it hits 6 minutes, I'll be doing yellow. And 7 minutes for the red. Similarly, we have different timings for the evaluators and for the people topics. And then after everybody's done, I'll be, suggesting how much time everyone has taken for short speakers.
Thank you.
And we want to stay on track tonight. So when you see the green, just think in your head, okay, green, yellow. When you see that red card, that means wrap it up. And the reason we do these cards, because sometimes we're asked to give a speech for 5 minutes and we need to work on our internal clock. So we don't sort of know when 5 minutes is. This helps us sort of start to set that stopwatch in our head, so to speak, by having a time limits here at the meeting. Odd counter, Phoebe, you're our odd counter tonight. This role of odd counter. Odd counter, that sounds good.
I think this role is to monitor people repeatedly say the fewer words, such as you know, so you repeatedly fill the gap. So the best way to do when you're thinking is to pause. So I will tell them before. Thank you.
Next up is our grammarian word of the day, BJ. Grammarian. I mean, I'm not in school anymore. I need to have a grammarian here. What does that involve? I guess this is just for my family student, right?
Yeah, definitely, and it's more looking for me actually than you guys, so both ways. So my role is here is to listen to the good use of English grammar phrases and notice incomplete sentences or grammatical mistakes when speaking, and also the use of the word for this meeting, which is furtive. It's an adjective. What it means is furtive describes something that is done in quiet and secret way to avoid being noticed. It can also mean expressive of stealth or sleight, as in furtive look. That can be like or obtained underhandedly, as in furtive gains. Example, we exchange furtive smiles across the table, carefully not to attract teachers' attention. And I'll be taking notes of the grammar uses today in furtive manner. Thank you.
So every week we have a word of the day, and it's a word like furtive that maybe we don't use in our everyday vocabulary, but it's to broaden our vocabulary by introducing us to new and different words. Please, I don't want anybody giving me any furtive looks tonight. See what I did there? All right, so that's one for me. Are you keeping score? Who's in the lead?
Did it twice.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was right or wrong.
Doesn't matter, I used it, all right. Last but not least, general evaluator, okay, we don't have a general evaluator, I need a volunteer, who wants to be general evaluator, going once? Eddie, you want to be general evaluator, okay. I'll tell the group what that is, but you know what to do. General evaluator, Eddie will be observing the meeting from start to finish. Seeing what we did well, maybe some things we want to improve upon, and maybe how we might want to challenge ourselves in the future. So thank you, Eddie, for taking that role. Last but not least, I see we have a distinguished Toastmaster in the meeting tonight, Henry Miller. Henry, woo, welcome.
Yes, I'm spying on you guys today. And I wanted to say hi to Eddie McMorrow.
Oh, yeah. Henry has spoken several times in person to the club. He's not a member of the club, but he is a distinguished Toastmaster. He's in 4 different clubs. This guy's in 4 different clubs. We asked him to join our club, but his wife said, no more clubs for Henry. That's it, 4 clubs. So thanks for joining us tonight, Henry. And yeah, Eddie's here. I'm glad you came to see Eddie. Okay, let's get rolling. Speeches. Speech number 1, Anant will be doing speech number 1, and his evaluator tonight is Chris. Chris will be introducing Anant. Chris. All right.
Back. Good evening, everyone. Christian Eddy, also the VP of Education for the club. Been in the club since 2020. And I want to give a heartfelt thank you to Eddie McMorrow for bringing this club back to life. And it's a thriving club. We integrate technology, we're hybrid, we're in person, we're digital, really served us well during the COVID pandemic, so that was really nice. And whether you're a community influencer or leader or aspiring to be that, or an attorney, or a financial advisor, or a small business owner, or an engineer in the Silicon Valley, we have many different types of people here that all want to work on public speaking. So it's an inclusive place, it's a special place to be. And a lot of times when we do public speaking, we're unsure how our audience is picking up on the things that we're trying to put out there, whether it's the tone or the wording and the message. But actually, when you're in Toastmasters, you get to hear back feedback and honestly from your fellow members and also your evaluator. Okay, so that's what we're going to do tonight. We have an exceptional speaker, Anant Kumar. He puts in the work. He does a great job. I'm happy to be his evaluator tonight. Is he hiding? Where is Anant? Oh, very exceptional. One moment, please. So Anand Kumar, that is his name, the title of his speech, From the Last Bench with a View. What does this mean? It starts with the title. What is the theme? Draw us in. Pathways, what is a pathway? A pathway is an educational curriculum, just like in your class. It's the rubric. What are you trying to accomplish along the way? There's 5 levels. Each level has 3 projects. We try to complete pathways, right? So we know what we're going to talk about over time. The first one is an icebreaker, like Christina is doing tonight. Christina is an engineer and a project leader at Apple. So we are all in very prominent positions, and we want to work on this because there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies that see soft skills and speaking ability and leadership as a top skill to be someone that is attractive for them to hire in the future. So please keep that in mind. Level 3, this is project 2. It's an elective speech. Also stated purpose to connect with storytelling. So he's going to try to draw us in. There's also the mechanics. Are you going back and forth? Do you have a good pace? Are you using filler words or not? Do you have good eye contact and engagement with your audience? But also, what is the story arc? Do you pause dramatically? Do you draw on your audience? Are they snoozing and giving you furtive eye rolls in the back of the room? What is happening? And we just do that for fun. We don't need to put the word in the day, but we do that for fun. Okay, so 1 sentence general description of his speech, a personal and inspiring journey of resilience. This speech recounts how a determined student rose from obscurity on the last bench to academic recognition by challenging limitations, defying doubts, and quietly proving his worth. So with that, I want to introduce Anand Kumar from the last bench with a view. Anand Kumar.
Have you ever felt that life put you in the wrong seat? I felt it, literally. For a long time, I was on the last seat in the classroom, not only just in the school classroom, but also in the life classroom too. But that last bench gave me a view of the journey ahead. And along with that, some funny stories too. Let me take you back with my life story. I was born and raised in a small town tucked away in the foothills of majestic Himalayas in northern India. The town was very small, the streets were narrow, everyone knows everyone, and the dreams of the town often never cross the limit of the town. I was known to be a bright kid, very curious, fond of books, numbers, and solving puzzles. Whatever the limited set of books I had, I often end up reading them multiple times. But that changed everything after it's time to join the middle school. Many of my friends who were serious about their study, they went to a nearby town for a better school opportunity. But my parents decided to keep me back. Maybe they thought it's more convenient, or it's less of an hassle, or honestly, maybe more affordable. That decision crushed me. When I went to that middle school in my small town, I felt that I was under challenge. Months by months, year by year, I taught every exam, every test. This is what a student wants. But most of the time, I did not feel myself challenged. I felt underutilized. I felt like a candle in a daylight. And then the time came when it was a exam day for the 8th standard. When I look at the question paper, many of the questions I didn't even know. And that was the first time in my life I had that same feeling. I had that kind of feeling. I never had that kind of feeling in an examination room. 30% of the questions were felt gibberish to me. And I remember my teacher words. Don't worry about these topics. You don't have to study them. And guess what? 30% of the exam questions were from those topics. And I was so naive. I believed my teacher. Sitting in the exam room, I was just boiling with thoughts. I came home and I did exactly what a teenager would do. I staged a revolution at home. I declared to my parents, put me in a better school, else I'll continue getting top in the exam by default. My mother thought it might not be good for my health. My dad thought about the transport. And my uncle thought that I would lose my first place in the classroom. I remember vividly, one of my neighbor even said it to me at my face. You'll be like an average kid in the classroom. Mark my words. So I marked them. After a lot of convincing, finally, my parents agreed to put me in a better school in nearby town. They somehow arranged the transport as well. Back in the days, there was not many ways for the transport, but somehow they put it together. When I landed in that school, I realized my uncle said, right, I was just an average fish. I was just another name in the roster. There was no introduction, no expectation. All the front benches were taken. I only found the bench in the last. And not surprisingly, the people who were sitting beside me, they were not at all interested in the study. I felt alone. I felt left out. For the whole semester, nobody knew me. The teacher had their favorites, and I was not one of them. But I kept working hard. Many of the times I would not even able to hear what my teacher is talking about. And then finally the day came when it was a first semester exam. I vividly remember that one of my English teacher, when he was distributing the exam paper, he asked, who is this chap, Anand? And I raised my hand quietly from the last bench of the classroom. He said, you were invisible for the whole semester, but you stood second in the class. He was surprised, stunned, and confused. How come a student who was not even visible could score such a high in that exam? After that, I cemented my position. I even was the first in the classroom. Now, looking back, I realized that last bench not only just gave me a view, but it gave me a perspective that you don't have to tell your story, or you have to make the world feel your presence in a loud way. Just show up every day or do your work. And one day it will come when somebody will ask, who is this guy? And that will be your moment. Thank you.
Show up every day and do the work. It sounds simple, but how many people can really follow through on that? I like how you understand. This is the time when we give a I think a minute to give them some speaker feedback on a Google form. If you have a smartphone, do the barcode top one. We're gonna take 1 minute. Just type in a thought or two, what you liked about a non-speech, or if there's any areas where you think you could improve. Add that as well. This is important for our speakers because it provides them with insights from the entire group. Let's do that now. Let's take 1 minute. I like how you said, felt like a candle in the daylight.
Yeah.
I never heard that before. That's, it's cool how you said that. Yeah, good job. And Knox only been a member for about a year now, right? How long have you been a member?
I think, in 2 weeks I will complete a year,
A year.
almost there.
Look how well you're doing. Good for you. Yeah, great speech. Okay, let's take about another 20 seconds or so. These are important feedback for our speakers. Because we're all learning here, so any observations you have, positive or constructive, please provide them. And then, we'll provide the speakers with the comments via Trello for tonight. Okay, next up is our speaker number 2, Electra, and her evaluator is Vivian. So Vivian, come up here and introduce Electra in her speech.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Vivian. It's my pleasure to be the evaluator today. And I got to say that it's my lucky day because not only is it my first evaluation and it's done on the 500 meeting. And then Electra is gonna talk about something very interesting. And she reached out to me about 2-3 weeks ago and said that she wanted me to be her evaluator. I was so flattered because she speaks very well. And but then when I look at the topic, I'm a little bit confused why she invites me to become her evaluator. We'll find out. So the title of the speech is Forced to Fail: How Will Small Business in the US with manufacturing line in China survive the increased tariffs? So, very interesting, right? Right. And that's why she wants me to be her evaluator. And so the pathway will be persuasive influence, level 1, number 4 project, and number 4 project. The stated purpose objective will be evaluation and feedback, and she's gonna use this for her consideration for the next projects that she's gonna work on. And then she will briefly describe the situation and then a particular company's struggle to adapt to the US tariff situation with China. And she would like to cite the sources which were Harvard Business Review and a podcast featured on New York Times daily, which is another thing I picked up in the morning after my coffee. So welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Imagine if you had a small business where you had a manufacturing line in China. And with these increased tariffs, you could not adapt. So tonight I'm going to give you a little bit of a history, definition and history of what a tariff is, and then what it was used for in the early days of our country. And then I will go into the story about this small business who has been greatly impacted by these increased tariffs. So what is a tariff? Back to your history class. It is a tax on goods that are imported from other countries. And it has 3 purposes. First, it raises revenue for the government. It also protects companies and their employees that produce things within the United States. So us consumers, if we're purchasing things within the United States, it helps those companies and their employees. And it also brings other countries to the negotiating table. For instance, it might force them to lower their tax. Going back to the late 1700s, 1789 is when tariffs were introduced into the United States. And it was really the only way that the government raised money until around World War II. Then it became more of a free trade policy. You might remember from your history class something called the Smoot-Hawley Act that was instituted in 1930, and it was supposed to help farmers during the Great Depression. But instead, it caused other countries to retaliate against our tariffs And it made the Great Depression much worse than it would have been. So we see this, oh, and I also wanted to mention that in 1913, the 16th Amendment introduced the federal income tax. And that's how predominantly thereafter World War II is when tariffs really stopped being used. And that was the way that money was generated for the country. So going into how does this affect small businesses? There is this company, and it's owned by a woman and her brother. It's called Busy Bee. And she started it in Minnesota. And her idea was to build or develop a silicone mat to go on top of a baby's high chair. Maybe, and I don't know if anyone listened to this podcast, but it certainly tugged at my heartstrings. I felt horrible for her. She developed this product and the prototype and then started looking, well, I should also mention that the tray, the reason why it's so special is because it has toys attached to it. And if a baby is eating off the tray or playing, entertaining itself, the toys will not fall on the ground and then mom and dad don't have to look. So it's kind of ingenious. So she developed the prototype and started looking for manufacturers in the United States. But they then said, we need a minimum of a 10 to 20,000 unit order. That's kind of risky for a small business. So she found a manufacturer in China. They said, we'll produce your mat. We only need 1,000. She said, great. So she ended up on Shark Tank. She didn't negotiate with one of the sharks, but once that show aired, she sold 6 weeks of product in 3 days. And that was in 2021. So today, 5 years later, 4 years later, she's had 15 million in sales. Wow. So it's still a small business, but she's done very well. Her mat sells for $30 a piece. And she has 8 products and all these different molds. So anyway, she has no outside investors and she has taken out an SBA loan. She's, fully leveraged, right? So she's got everything on the line. She did know that there were going to be tariffs and she budgeted for 20 to 30%, but the tariffs ended up recently at 104%. So she's got 2 to 3 months worth of product sitting in a Chinese warehouse that she can't bring here because the tariff is worth, pay that tariff, it's more expensive than the value of the product. So it really puts her at a disadvantage. She has to adapt. She thought, well, maybe I'll change that. And then I'll export it to Vietnam. And then I can get it here. But that's illegal if you don't change the product in some way. And she can't because these silicone mats have to go in babies' mouths. So it's sitting over there produced. She can't change the product. So then she thought, okay, I own a building in Minnesota. Maybe I'll develop my own manufacturing line in my own building. It takes 12 to 18 months to do that. That's just for one product line. She's got 8 products. So anyway, she's thought of all kinds of different ways to adapt. And in the end, building her own factory isn't an option. And she doesn't want to pay the tariff because then she'd have to sell the product for $60 and that she's not going to be profitable. So she's decided that she's just going to try to sell the product to other countries that don't have the tariff. And she's hoping that she can then turn this into a global business. But I just think in the end, while that's great and that sounds like an awesome idea, I think for small businesses, it's not going to be sustainable. And I think for larger companies like Apple and Google, they can afford to build factories here and make product changes and export to other countries and find ways to make profits. These small companies can't do that. So in my opinion, for small businesses, the tariff is not the best fit. Thank you.
Insightful speech. Walk down the lane. Let's give Electra some feedback on the same forum. She's speaker number 2 on the Google form. What you liked about her speech? If there's any room for improvement? Add that as well. That's where we grow as speakers, is understanding where we might want to improve. The smooth poly act. You know, it's been a while since I heard that. But I still have nightmares of the professor calling me and saying, "Tom, please explain
Oh, yeah.
the smooth Holly act."
Actually, for this small business, maybe have some way, they said in the US, some have some special loan for the native people, that's a free tax free. So if they direct deliver to this loan, then you sell them no tax. Maybe that's a good idea for them. I just heard about some people have some strategy.
It's taken about 120 seconds.
Yeah.
So West Valley kids, how are we doing so far?
Great.
Are we doing okay?
Yeah.
Are you guys, learning anything from our group? I don't know how this syncs up with what you guys did in the classroom. A little different, but hopefully you're being impressed by our speakers.
It's doing great.
Yeah.
There's almost similarities in terms of structure with having a timer and everything than I would have anticipated.
Oh, is that right? Okay, thank you. Yeah. And Electra's been a member less than a year, right? Look at her.
Great job.
Yeah, they come up here, no notes, and they just fire away for 5 to 7 minutes. That's impressive. All right, here we go. Icebreaker time. Christina, we can't wait any longer. Take some deep breaths. You'll be fine. It's nice deep breaths. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Natalie's gonna come up and introduce Christina. Natalie.
I'm excited to for a great speech. As icebreaker speech is the first speech that the person does when the person joins the club, and usually it's a good opportunity to tell about yourself and why you joined the club or what brought you here. And to give the opportunity for other members to learn new things about you. So, Christina, the title of her speech is Life Between Two Worlds. The presentation mastery pathway level 1. The project is the icebreaker. And Christina wrote a sentence about her speech, which is to share a glimpse of my life journey between the two worlds and valuable lessons I've learned along the way. Let's welcome Christina. Hi, fellow Toastmaster. If my life had a passport, it would be extremely confusing one. I'm from China, born and raised, but about a third of my life has been spent in the US and the remaining in China. My entire life has been zigzagging between the two worlds like a pinball. I'm fortunate to call some big and bold places home, and that includes New York City, Beijing, and now the Bay Area. Each place taught me something uniquely different, but valuable. New York City taught me grit. On the very first night I arrived at New York City in 2009, I immediately lost my luggages in the hallway of Columbia University, followed by a really intense conversation with a security guard as I was trying to chase down my luggage, and he thought he might be losing his job over this. It was midnight at the time. I was really exhausted after the 13-hour flight and the luggage drama, so I decided to take a shower and call it a day. As the Chinese saying goes, misfortunes love company. On the very same night, I locked myself out of the dorm, which forced me into a pleasant conversation with the same security guard asking to borrow the keys from him. And when I finally got into the room and tried to pull down the curtain, the entire curtain fell off the window, right in front of me. I remember the moment vividly. I was covering my shop towels, my hair was dripping with water. All I could think about was, I need to buy a flight ticket and go back to China right now. But I did it. I told myself that things will work out to be fine if I just keep at it, and they did. I graduated Columbia as a top student at Internet MTV Networks. I got to work at a media startup that ultimately went IPO on NASDAQ. None of this would have happened if I bought the flight ticket on the first night. As under the doctors gracefully put it, living life great is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. New York City certainly taught me how to run my own marathon. In 2012, I relocated back to China, and Beijing became my second home. While New York City taught me grit, Beijing introduced me to the art of hustle. I was working for a Silicon Valley-based tech company, and my job is to work with a Chinese tech company like Huawei, Tencent, Xiaomi. I remember visiting Huawei's headquarters for the first time, where I learned everyone literally works 16 hours a day and 7 days a week. To accommodate their intense work schedule, all the employees are equipped with a little foldable bag next to their office desk. So they can take a nap without having to leave the office. When you're trying to work for a US company while trying to partner with Chinese company that operate like that, the expected service level out of you is extremely high. Response to their questions and needs are expected within hours, or at very most at the end of the same week. Every Saturday morning China time, I will wait impatiently in front of my laptop, waiting for my US coworker to answer my urgently needed questions, only to find out I need to wait for another week because you're having a beer at a happy hour. I quickly realized the key to my success is to identify the professional and cultural differences and work creatively to bridge the gaps. Over 3 years of time, I grew to be the best performing business development lead in the region, leveraging my capability to just adapt and bridge the gap. And that is still the key to my career success to today. 2016 is a watershed moment in my life because my husband and I decided to settle down, have family, to move to the Bay Area. Having lived in New York, Beijing, Bay Area is a different pace of life. They also taught me something very important, which is living in the moment. But it's also the same year when my son Lucas was born, which is the best thing that happened in my life, allowing me to be a mom, to love someone so deeply that I can never imagine, and to watch a little baby grow into a little human being. However, it was chaos and struggles in the beginning to balance between work and family. And more importantly, I barely had any time to care for myself. Lucas, work, family were my top 3 priorities. I was physically exhausted and constantly immersed in self-doubt and guilt because I was unable to maximize my potential at work, nor being the perfect one I wanted to be. Till one day, Lucas came home from kindergarten and told me something that completely shifted my mindset. He said, "Mom, I know you love me very much, but you have to love yourself. You can't love anyone else before you love yourself first." I remember thinking in my head, how is it possible I'm learning this from a 5-year-old? I also remember seeing sparks in his little eyes that didn't have a heart. I finally realized how important it is to prioritize myself and my own life before I'm capable of taking care of others. I also finally started to know that life fundamentally is about being fully present and enjoying those little moments along the way. And when we all look back on our life one day, those little moments are what actually matters. So those are the important life lessons I've learned. Great hustle, living in the moment. And just like a passport, my journey is far from over and I have many empty pages to fill, but
hopefully tonight I'm giving you all a good glimpse of the journey I've had so far.
That's it. That's it. Mic drop. Mic drop.
Well, that's an icebreaker speech. I don't
First
know if I'm
speech.
forward to,
First speech ever.
what's coming.
Hey.
That's all right. Let's give her some feedback. Let's take a minute to do that. She's speaker number 3 on the Google form. What you enjoyed about her speech, what you thought she did well, and if you can find anything for the room of improvement, and as well. That was perfect that you can get on icebreaker speech. I didn't even hear any filler words. You were just perfect. They're very well organized. I really like how you broke it down into the 3 parts of your life, so forth, and a strong message at the end.
Praise called a lot.
Yeah, it's good like that.
You did the work. Yeah.
Good job, Chris. All right, let's take about another 30 seconds. My favorite part of meeting a table topic. This is the opportunity for all of you to participate if you want. We'll only have time for maybe 3 or 4, but 1 to 2 minutes of impromptu speaking. Alexi is going to be our table topics master. He's come with some questions tonight. No right or wrong answers. We just want you to think and speak off the top of your head, but get some time at the podium so you can start to develop some confidence of what it's like to stand up and speak in front of friendly faces. When you're done giving the feedback for Christina, make sure you hit next on the bottom of the Google form. That takes us to the 2nd page. Okay, without any further ado, Alexi, what do you got for us tonight? Our table topics master.
Table topic is a short speech. You got a question, you can answer a question, or you can pick another one. So what is it, like 2-3 minutes, right?
What's that?
Table topics.
What?
Yeah, 1 to 2.
Oh, 1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2.
Yeah, and we got the cards here, and anybody can participate.
And what Christina mentioned about long days sounds quite familiar. I start typically from 6 to 7, thanks to overseas oversourcing in different time zones. Yeah. So my brain refused to function well after that long day. What I did, I just went to one of table topics masters forums and picked up a topic for discussion. So we need volunteers. You have 365 questions to choose from. You give me
You only have to do half of them.
There's someone online too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right,
definitely.
so any volunteers? Who
Guess
wants to go? No right or wrong answers, someone from West Valley.
So maybe
All right,
we-
there we go, right here.
Yeah,
right
there
here.
you go. There you go.
Okay, great.
I'm also a student at West Valley in the public speaking class. I'm here in Freetown.
All right, welcome.
So, questions are totally random, so 365, pick up a number for 1 to 365.
Complicated.
227.
We got you. It's like, okay, number 2. Number 3 on my list. Oh my God, you're really scrolling through.
Now he's on
267. This engineer.
What's something you don't like to do that you're still really good at?
You have 30 seconds to think about it, then 1 to 2 minutes to speak.
So do I just start when
Just go for it. You just try to ad lib off the cuff.
All right, so imagine the freedom of the open road. Your hands on the steering wheel, the sunrise coming up. You can see no one in the lanes next to you. That's the reality of a perfect driving. However, for most of us on our daily commutes, driving is not that simple or that fun. You have to wake up early,
You have to plan your day and you have to plan your commute times to and from work, to and from all the appointments you gotta get to. And although I've received many compliments from family and other people, I hate driving. Maybe it's also just the New York City person at heart in me. My family is from there, and so I always just love to walk everywhere and just be on my own 2 feet. But driving, unfortunately, in California, driving is a necessary part of life. So although it's important to follow the rules of the road and really and really know what you're doing to keep other drivers and yourself safe, for me, driving is a necessary evil. So thank you very much.
Next, volunteer.
You're getting brave, okay?
Let's have two, let's, come on, one at a time, here we go. I guess ladies first. And then-
Okay.
Yes. Number from 1 to 3,000. Excluding 250. Oh. Is it possible to lie without saying a word?
Possible to lie without saying a word.
Now, if you don't like it, just.
I'm McKenna.
McKenna.
Oh, wait. If happiness was a national currency, what kind of work would make you rich?
You got 30 seconds to think about it. No rush into it.
Drives you. I'm not sure about you, but for me, making people happy and helping others is something that sparks my fire. Ever since I was a kid, I have always been incredibly passionate about helping those who struggle. I've struggled a lot myself, and yeah, I guess being able to support others and show up for people in ways that I needed is something that I believe makes me happy. If happiness was a currency, it would be love. Thank you.
All right.
This kid, here we go.
Here we go.
What's your name?
He's taller than you,
AJ.
Tom.
AJ.
Tom, he's taller than you.
I know. So same from 1 to 365, excluding 100 and 218 and 200. Let's go for 69.
Okay, I didn't pick it.
What gives your life meaning? Let's get it. Yeah, I'm using a teacher. Same, an option you can answer this one or just pick up next one. What gives me what gives your life meaning? Alright. 20 seconds. That's okay.
Sure.
Yep. Yep. Hello guys, I'm AJ with West Valley to listen and evaluate all the speakers, great speakers and charismatic gentlemen like you. Thank you for hosting this. Yeah. So to start, I say, what gives my life meaning? What gives everyone's life meaning? We should question ourselves. You, and all of us have different life paths. We all are meant for something else. You can't judge a fish's ability to climb a tree. If a person's really good at public speaking, good. Probably someone that's gifted might not be as good as person who's not gifted. Maybe his ability lies somewhere else. So the question, and the true question we all should be asking ourselves is what's meaning of life? What is that gives you the feeling of liveliness? What makes you feel alive? I bet it's not going to Starbucks in the morning and then heading to work and listening to your same shitty boss rant at you. It's definitely not your relatives talking shit about you, yet you're trying to please everyone. What is meaning? Like, you're trying to be nice to people, they talk bad about you. You're trying to be good to your boss, you do extra hard work. It still doesn't gives you a sense of acknowledgement. So we should pause and think that we are meant for our own individualities and we have our own abilities. And we should question that where our true power lies. And for me, I can say my true power lies is to inspire people. And the only way for me to do it is to lead by example. So thank you very much.
Bravo, AJ. Good job, AJ.
Good job. All right, one more brave soul. One more. Come on, West Valley. Let's go. Come on.
Ross Jones, going
There
well,
we go.
going twice.
What's your name?
Hi, everyone. My name is Angelica and I'm with West Valley.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5, excluding those numbers. Whatever it is.
Hi, oh.
No.
Okay, let's go.
To ask enough questions, so please settle for what you know. For the second school, prepare.
Wait, what's the question on this?
To ask enough questions, so please settle for what you know. It's psychological kind of stuff.
So I feel like when you settle for something, without questioning, you might hinder your ability to grow. So I tend to question everything. I question my parents, I question authority, I question, my professor. And I feel like sometimes I'm wrong for doing so, but I feel like, no one has the answers to everything, especially life. That is true for me as, I grow older, I feel like I unlearn things that I was taught from an early age. I question those things. I wish, we're able to question our parents when we're 3, like, wait, why are you saying that? Or why are you doing that? So that when you're older, you don't have to unlearn a lot of things. So the question was, do I ask questions or do I settle? I feel like life is about asking questions and you should always ask questions.
Yes. We have
We're
it.
gonna vote now for whichever or whomever we thought is best table topics on the Google form, page number 2. We had Ari, McKenna, AJ, and Angelica. Ari, McKenna, AJ, and Angelica. Type in the name and then make sure you hit submit at the bottom of the form so we can tabulate the votes. Well done, West Valley.
Great job. You really stepped up tonight.
In terms of asking questions, you should always question yourself, question your own beliefs, right? That's the most important. Right? Question yourself. You don't have all the answers, right? Okay, well done. Great job. Okay, let's move on. We're in the home stretch now. Speech evaluations. We have 3 speech evaluators. Now, with speech evaluators, let's keep it to 2 to 3 minutes. You're gonna get that red card. That's time to wrap it up. First up, evaluating Anant will be Chris. Chris, come on up.
Well, Anant, great job tonight with all of our new faces and familiar ones. Thank you for being up here and doing that speech for the first time. Or was your first run at it. So I'm gonna break it down by what I saw, what I heard, and what I felt. I experienced that speech. And then some things that you can do to improve, because we don't want to say all the nice things, we also want to be constructive in the feedback that can elevate the speech in the future. So what did I see? You look very comfortable up here. You look comfortable, it's okay, kind of be here, have all the eyes on you, have the attention on you. It's not a bad thing, especially if you're the featured speaker. That's what it's all about. Good eye contact. You weren't intimidated, you didn't look down the whole time. You were kind of scanning the room, not too long, not too little. Right, making sure everyone was paying attention to you, very important. What did I hear? I like the prompt in the beginning. You had some catchy prompt, and then you basically said to us, I'm gonna take you on this journey with us. Let me take you back to my childhood. And we all leaned in, we wanted to learn more about that. You slowed when you talked about the dramatic nature of your parents holding you back. I know you're a brilliant engineer, you're the brightest. But to have that happen to you at such an early age, it must have been detrimental to your confidence, must have been very confusing. And I don't know if everyone picked up that how critical that was for you, and you overcoming that as a young adult and as an adult right now. What did I feel? I also felt the disappointment, like the metaphor of being a candle in the daylight. How useless is that at times, other than heat? Right, so very interesting. It just kind of, you said it really quickly, but Tom picked it up, probably a lot of us picked it up and said, that's a clever way of describing a feeling. Also, you mentioned that your teacher had basically deceived you and told you not to study 30% of the topic matter. And I don't really know what that was all about, but then it came to me later that they wanted to bring down the level of the grades that you were getting in that class, kind of make you at parity with the other students that were there. And then the other dilemma that you had were your parents, for different reasons, whether it was economic or whether it was transportation issues or whether it was just the pride of having their son be the top ranked student in the class, they basically held you back. And for you, without challenge, there was no growth. You weren't pursuing who you were. You weren't able to be intellectually curious. How does that feel, right? You feel stifled. You cease to grow. So you ended by telling us, eventually things turned around, and that to remind us, we need to all do the work, whatever the work is, whether it's at West Valley, whether it's actually being curious and saying what motivates me, right? What drives me, like AJ said, or maybe it's actually doing something like this. It's not always just going to the gym. This is the speaking gym. This is the leadership gym, something like this. And so, like Anant mentioned, you may not put yourself out there in a forward way, but if you're preparing subtly, and then all of a sudden you're asked to step up and speak at school or a personal event for your family, maybe your first interview at a big company, and you come up and you're able to seize that moment, it's going to be huge for all of us here. So thanks for reminding us of those important topics. Great speech tonight. And reminder, all of us seize the moment. Okay, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
Sorry, I forgot to mention the things to work on. Your hands were kind of connected at times, so be sure you're loose and you're using those. Pronunciation. I wish I spoke more than one language, but for those of us that do speak more than one language, slow down, speak clearly, so your audience can pick up on everything, the nuances of the words you're using. And you had some really interesting points, the ones I mentioned, the 3 or 4 themes, but sometimes we have to reiterate that and follow up with a summarization of these were the main things in my speech, and this is why it should resonate. Okay, thank you.
solid evaluation. Next up, evaluating electrifying speeches. First time evaluator. I can't believe it's your first time. I know, Vivian, let's hear what you got.
I am, but like God, I'm always so drawn to your speeches, and I don't understand why until today. You have this small, petite size, but you have this undeniable quiet power. You have this presence when you stand there. You don't have to be loud, and yet you are heard. I think that's how I get so drawn to your speeches all the time. And today, the speech just kind of exemplifies whatever I have understood about you. So you picked up a very difficult topic that people really want to talk about, honestly, right? Because it's so controversial and all that, right? And yet you were brave enough to say, I want to talk about that. So that's number one. And then you delivered in a very confident way. And you have this empathetic feeling towards the topic, the person in the story, that was carried through from your speeches as well. So I could really feel that. So that's really powerful. And then, of course, you have used it very much like the space, things like that. So the delivery was very pleasant and easy to relate to. I really like that. Some people were like jumping around the stage, things like that was kind of intimidating to me sometimes. But again, that's what I say, you got this presence that's not so loud and yet it's very undeniable. You got noticed. You don't have to be loud. Okay, and then in terms of a few things that I can pick on, because my background is a lot on the storytelling and things like that. I think for doing a research piece like that, especially you wanted to persuade other people, this kind of story that we use could be a very nice teaser at the very beginning, and then you could kind of wrap like, oh, this is something that I've heard about, and then you can throw in a lot of research, and in the end you will deliver what you think of this topic. So when those people who have read the article, have heard the daily and everything, then they were like, oh, this is Electra's concept, her genuine inputs to this topic. So that will enrich the entire discussion. Right. So I don't really have any other things to talk about because I really enjoyed it. I was also very nervous to be notes and all that stuff. And I just wanted to say that you have this undeniable power. So please amplify yourself. Make sure your quiet power is shining through, and then make yourself heard, that your voice heard. So thank you.
First time evaluator, well done. Well done, great job. You didn't evaluate that. How should you like that? Okay, last but not least, evaluating Christina's wonderful icebreaker speech will be Natalie. Natalie.
All right.
Really wonderful speech, especially for an icebreaker. It was very insightful. It touched so many topics that we all felt connected to, or at least I felt connected to. It was really interesting story about your life. And I like how you separated it into several parts, and in terms of the structure, it was structured so well, and you even had a summary at the end. It really impressed me. It's for an icebreaker, it's not informative speech. You don't always expect that, and like, oh wow, even those small details. So I love your attention to details in that speech, and your preparation really felt through there. Your flow of the speech was conversational and it felt really comfortable, and everyone there felt your presence, and it was really nice. And I loved your self humor. and your insightful phrases, and it all combined together. It was really great. I liked how you said, live your life like a marathon and not like sprint. So actually, the insightful, like the life lessons, you put them through the entire speech, like small tiny bites of those, and not only like one big thing at the end. It was really nice and kept everyone listening further. Your emotions were felt through, so it was a good voice variety and hand gestures. You were able to make us feel how you felt, and you made us be there in those moments with you. And I want just to stress again that I feel like it really touched me, all the points that you have raised, and I would love to hear more speeches about each of one of those topics, because they are really, really important and touching all our lives. So thanks. I'm gonna do something that Chris did too. That I wanted to add one small thing, that I love the flow, but I feel like if you would pause in like more important moments to give us to feel that moment more, that would some benefit the speech. But that's only the one thing that I want to say.
Yeah, I know this is unusual, and this is Toastmasters. I usually leave a meeting without saying anything because I'm getting late to be somewhere. I have to leave, but thank you very much for having this meeting and to have all the students here. It's been phenomenal, and I excuse myself. Unfortunately, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, thank you, Nan.
Okay. We are really in the home stretch now. 4 functionary rows. Now, functionaries, I'm gonna give you 1 minute each. Please just be concise with your wording, and let's land this plane. So first up, our timer, first time timer, Keaton. What do you got for us? How do we do tonight?
All the names right except for your name, sorry for that. But I think timing wise, all the speakers were spot on. Nobody exceeded the red mark. Everybody was before the red mark. To be specific, Anand, exactly at 7 minutes. You ended your speech with those spot on, Anand. Electra was again 7 minutes, exactly 7 minutes. Christina was at 6 minutes. When it comes to table topic, impromptu speech, I think you were 1 minute. Nakana, I spent it right at 51 seconds. PG, 1 minute and 52 seconds. Jolika, 58 seconds. And the evaluators, Chris, 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Vivian, 2 minutes 56 seconds, and Natalie, 2 minutes 20 seconds. Yes,
thank you. Everybody was in there at the right time. Okay, she can't wait any longer, or I'll count her. She jumped out of her chair. Hey, what do you got for us tonight?
Just be patient. So tonight, great job. Anam, I only have 1, which was very unnoticeable. Electra, you have slightly more than 5, because you actually can start thinking everything. The content was fantastic. Ari, McKenna, AJ, no filler words. Angelica, a few Chris, only 1. Vivian, couple, and Natalie, just have a great job. Thank you.
Okay, sir. And then hey, BJ, the floor is yours. What do you got for us?
Try to make it quick. Wonderful speeches, table topics, and I learned a lot by paying attention to how people use English grammar and phrases. So I'll start from beginning. Anand, very powerful ending. Show up every day and do the work. Thank you for sharing that. And we all know picture speaks out in words, but so today I saw people using a couple of words to paint whole picture. And you started with stage,
staged a revolution. I heard it first time, so I painted the picture immediately. Candle in the daylight, another one. Couple of improvement things, like you said, the bench in the last, maybe it's towards the end of the classroom or the last bench. And S or not having S, like light put you, what's it light puts you? Light classroom, which is light classroom, things like that, but which the Electra, very smooth, powerful. I cheated a little bit because I heard something, but since I didn't learn grammar, I had to Google it to find out it was something wrong. You said small business who has been. I play by ear. I don't know grammar. It doesn't sound right, so I started looking up on Google. So it should be probably which or that, depending on how we pause there. Christina, very powerful statements there. You started with a very good picture. You painted my life has been zigzagging like ping pong ball. You don't have to say much. People just know what you're talking about. Powerful phrases. Cannot love anyone unless you love yourself. Completely agree. Being fully present and enjoying every moment. Thank you for sharing that. And I found in this some, but whatever I could catch. AJ, I think you shared it powerful and you painted a good picture. You cannot judge a fish by its capability to climb a tree. You said a lot in that. Thank you for sharing that. Angelica, life is about asking questions. I agree with that. That's how you learn, right? Evaluators, Chris, we all leaned in place of we got interested. It's very interesting. I've heard you saying that again and again, but it's very powerful. I liked it. Vivian, you undeniable presence, and I agree with that. I think you have that. And you deliver powerful speech, and you can focus on thinking and going behind your words, like what you're thinking with your kids. But that was, I heard it first time, really good. Word of the day. Fortive. I heard Tom using it, Chris using it, and I think I may have used it in the beginning. So thank you, everyone.
All right, back to Eddie, general evaluator. 1 minute, Eddie, what do you got for us?
Our founder.
Very nice, nicely run meeting. Everybody kind of hit their marks. We are a little bit over on time. I think we're supposed to have 7:45, but the audience was very well engaged, so I like to see that, and everybody, I think, got a lot out of this meeting. I'm hoping. Let's see. We also logistic wise, we had some trouble. We needed to get all these chairs in here, so that was nicely done, and everybody was able to get a seat. So that's excellent. I also noticed a difference in from before. We did more of an official Toastmaster evaluations where the evaluators get up at the beginning, introduce the topic, explain the project that the people are working on, and then at the end come back and do their evaluation. So it was nice to see that we were doing a little bit more in the official Toastmaster format. So that's very well done. The speeches were all very, very interesting and great. I really enjoyed them. The same thing with the evaluations. I liked also that that the evaluators, Chris, and the third evaluator also kind of caught themselves and remembered to give that constructive feedback, because it is important. They kind of call it the hamburger, the sandwich, where you have that the bread being that at the beginning, at the end of the evaluation, where you're kind of talking about what they did well, thanking the person, that type of stuff, and then in the middle, getting to the meat of it and really giving something that's useful for that speaker to get better. So that's important to do, and I'm glad you're at the end there, you caught yourself in and gave us your constructive feedback, so thank you for that. And that's about all I have, so great job overall.
Thanks, Ron.
Oh, we got a winner from Table Topics.
Okay, we tabulated the voting, we sent it off to headquarters, they pinged it back to us. And who is, the table
Who's the
topic
winner?
tonight?
It was close. It was almost a three-way tie between AJ, Angelica, and Ari, but AJ, he eked it out. He eked it out. That one's up.
So, I want somebody from West Valley who hasn't spoken yet. Who hasn't spoken yet from West Valley? Come on, come on. Oh, what's your name? Come on up. Okay. So, tell the group, I don't know what expectations you had when you came here tonight, but tell us what you thought about our meeting and how we go about things here.
Yeah, so coming in, I genuinely had no expectations. I was just dedicated to finish the assignment, to be completely frank with you. But I was really inspired coming in and seeing all your different kind of speeches, whether they seem more improvised or more memorized, whatever they be. I think I'd actually consider joining this organization outside of maybe over the summer or something. I thought it was very interesting and definitely gave me some ideas for my upcoming persuasive speech. So thank you for having me and for having all of us accepting us with open arms. I know it's a lot of people. So we're really grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, about the third or fourth time we have the West Valley kids here, we always enjoy it. You're welcome anytime. You ever want to be members, that's fine too. Okay, let's land this plane. Henry, thanks for coming tonight. Good to see you. I'll see you on Thursday. Good to see you. Thank you.
Bye, Henry.
Thank you. And just want to end with three sayings. No challenge, no change. Practice makes progress, and if I can do it, all you guys can do it too. Dan Wynn, finish it up. Our president.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here to witness this incredible journey. So to be more impatient, I just say this, enjoy and be present. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.